Hello everyone and welcome to Faithful to Big Brother, where we are discussing Celebrity Big Brother UK day 15. There's only a few left now, not many.
Just checking, because you keep getting it wrong.
No, I don't. Is it day 15?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I'd correct you if it was wrong.
Of 18, is it 18 days?
I don't know.
We're getting there. I mean, I would warn people, from the podcast from now on until the final, there's only 6 people left. That's not much to fill an hour-long Big Brother episode, let alone a podcast. So they may be rambling ahead.
It's been rambling prior. We've been talking about nonsense for the last couple of days. So we're continuing until we run out of things to ramble about, and then it'll just be nothing. It'll just be dead air.
We're doing a real deep dive into things such as how much has their hair grown in 18 days? Have they had haircuts? Have they had hair dye?
Well, funny you should mention it, because Chris has mentioned that his beard is longer than he normally has it, and he was considering having a little trim. And Donna was offering him some of her oil to put in his beard because he was saying it felt a bit dry.
It's the aircon in the house.
Then he said that he would never grow his beard as long as Danny and Jack's, and that was confusing me because their beard's not as long. No. He actually, that's a lie. He said that there wasn't very long, and his was the longer beard. Yeah, there you go. So we're talking about hair growth. You said it, and I'm just letting you know that actually happened.
I like it.
Yeah. So even ITV are like,
maybe
hair growth.
Chris's beard is longer than it's ever been before. Do you want to know why that is? Actually, I've worked it out.
Go on.
Patsy's been talking to it, or Jojo's been. Someone's been talking to his beard this whole 18 days.
Because Patsy's been talking to it, and it's just like, please, I just want to die. These dead hair follicles are just falling out of his chin.
Well, I did have this theory that Patsy would be not good for her career. I'm not saying it's not good for her career, but on the launch night, I did say she was prickly. She's not very good on interviews.
Like Chris's beard.
Yeah. And we saw that when Will Best got his one question out of the night.
What, on tonight's interview?
On the eviction, and we saw.
I mean, I wouldn't mind talking about AJ and Will's interactions in tonight's Big Brother. Actually, that's something else I want to talk about, because she interrupted him on more than one occasion, and he seemed uncomfortable quite a lot tonight.
A lot of Will Best was going, yeah, and then
AJ would.
And what do you feel?
But even during the links,
it's like in a podcast of you.
AJ, shut up. Even during the links, AJ would be like saying, "And you can phone," and then there'll be a pause, and then you saw Will about to say a bit, and then AJ would then carry on saying a bit, and she would just stand back and go, "Oh," like that, and let her carry on. I reckon behind the scenes, this is what I think. Behind the scenes, AJ and Will have been told Big Brother's success on ITV, but we can't afford 2 presenter wages. So we need to cut one of you. And so we're going to be watching the series, and whoever we think is the best one. And that's why there was a bit of fighting between them. Bit of infighting between Will and AJ tonight.
And that's why Will's been getting his top off as much as possible since he was told that news. He's wearing his low-cut vest all the time now, desperate. Yeah. Normally wears woolly jumpers.
No, to be fair, that's normally during the standard Big Brother, and for some bizarre reason they now record that in the winter.
That's true.
They're recording this in the summer, so it is warmer out there. You know, that's what I reckon. So I reckon next series we're going to see AJ there. It will be AJ on her own,
not someone new completely. Get rid of both.
They can't afford 2 new presenters. They can only afford 1.
They can get rid of both of them.
I'm surmising they're both great, and
Patsy
we love
could
them.
take over as host.
Patsy would be awful as host. We've literally got one note about Patsy's eviction, and we'll be talking about that at length.
Patsy, you have to interview the guests when they leave.
No, she would, but
I prefer dead air. Thank you.
Yeah, she would ask them a question, and then when they were replying, she'd just sit there looking like that,
stare at them.
Like Christ.
Right, I am Ben, by the way.
I've already said hello. I did it quietly.
You haven't said your name, though.
Yeah, I did. I went, hello, I'm Alex, quietly to the camera.
No one can hear that on a podcast, can they?
If you're watching the video podcast, you saw me.
So you only care about the viewers. Interesting.
I care about anyone who wants to join in and listen or watch this podcast. I care for everyone. Unlike you, all you're thinking about is the money.
You're the Will Best of that.
No, you're the Will Best, and I'm the AJ.
If people want to get in contact with us,
my head must be so big on the screen right now. It's like literally taking
It's not the
over.
Camera angle, it's just what's happening.
It's just my giant head, yeah.
You're talking to your head too much.
Am I?
It's growing.
Is that what? Is that
That's what happens with Patsy.
Is that how you make things grow? Is it?
Yes.
By talking to it.
Positive affirmations to your
What's
head.
happening? Right. Have you said your name? I'm Alex.
Yes, you
what
need
else
to
is
say how
happening?
people
Find us
can
on
get in contact
TikTok,
with us.
Instagram, and Threads at Faithful2Podcast, Blue Sky at Faithful2Podcast.bsky.social, YouTube at Youthful. At Faithful2Podcast, or search Faithful2 Big Brother. Don't forget like, subscribe, ring the bell, and comment underneath. You can also watch and comment on and listen on Spotify, or listen on any of your favorite podcast apps, including Apple Podcasts. If you like the podcast, don't forget to give us a 5-star review, tell your friends, share us on social media, and you can go to buymeacoffee.com/faithful just like to give us a donation, just like.
Are you reading that off of a page, are you?
No. Come on, you read out loud now,
Sorry.
Mr. Perfect. Come on, AJ. You read out loud.
Don't you? Just looking down with. Anyway.
Because I can't. I do remember it. It's just that I know I'll say something
It's okay,
wrong.
it's fine.
Right. Thank you for confirming it's okay.
Right, buy me a
What?
coffee, just like Louise did. You may remember we mentioned Louise on the last episode, everyone, so if you haven't listened to that,
Oh, was that your
catch
fake avatar?
up. Yes. You said I made her up because she theorised that we were maybe covering Race Around the World next as our next Faithful 2...
Podcast.
Anyway, Louise has bought a nomination.
Ben's
She says,
bought a
"Hi,
nomination."
this is Louise from Spotify."
Hello,
She
Ben.
owns Spotify.
Hello, Louise. Oh my God. If you want to give us money, give us more money, Spotify.
I thought I was the one who was all about money. No, you're all about money. That
You're
doesn't-
Louise, so technically you are Ben from Spotify.
Hi.
Hello,
This
Ben.
is Louise from Spotify.
Hi, Ben.
That doesn't exist. Thanks for the podcast. Been a listener throughout Faithful to the Traitors and also on comment below. So
Gosh, that's digging it up.
she's a deep cult member.
She's an OG. Hello, Louise.
Here is a small contribution towards your Race Around the World background accessory. Winky face. Very, very sure of herself there at Race Around the World.
Well, Louise is good for Louise.
For all she knows, we could be doing
Only Fools and Horses podcast.
the musical, yeah. Something like that.
The music. Oh yeah, the
Well, that's
musical.
on. Only Fools and Horses isn't on anymore.
Although Paul Whitehouse,
We could be doing Harry Potter HBO podcast. For all she
you won't be
knows.
doing that. Don't hear that right now.
We'll have Nick Frost on. And his interview will go down just as well as Patsy Palmer does. Comments on YouTube.
Yep.
Someone has said, because we mentioned that everyone was saying Chris was the reality TV star professional, but Ella has actually been on lots of reality TV shows, including the Challenge UK, which had one series hosted by Mark, whatever his name is. What's
Lamar.
his name?
I don't know.
No, Mark Wright. Was
Marky
it right?
Mark. Mark Wright, what, from The Only Way is Essex?
Yeah, him. Anyway, they have said Ella was also annoying on the Challenge UK. So it's not just a Big Brother thing with Ella. She was also annoying on Challenge UK.
Well, she kept saying in her exit interview, she kept saying, I can tell a player. And also, can I just say that if you're listening...
Player knows player.
Player knows player, exactly.
Whatever
and,
it's saying is game knows game. What is it? Something like that.
Yeah, game knows game. Or you
the
can't
kids
bullshit
say.
you can't bullshit a bullshitter.
That's
That's
Ella.
what my boss used to always say to me, and then have this big kind of grin on his face, and I'd just be like that. Oh, you're a twat. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. That was a long time ago, a boss from many years ago.
Right.
However, when who am I talking about? Ella. When we were watching Late and Live, can I just say the audience of people who go in to Late and Live, and
Well, that woman from a few episodes ago.
oh yeah, her with her like. But also,
With her sunglasses.
with her sunglasses down on the end of her nose. Christ,
She was always doing that
Yeah.
all the time. It's like, oh,
but
trying too hard.
but
She had
you are
like
a-
denim just draped over her everywhere.
she was trying very hard.
Anyway, her.
You are a fickle bunch, right? Because when Ella was in the house and then reading out the names for who's going to be evicted, boo! We hate Ella, scum. You know, it was awful, right? Left the house, cheers, fine. That's okay. We get it.
Yeah.
There's a reason why you were booing. I would imagine the reason why you're booing is because Ella, what we've kind of talked about with Ella, and that she went in, she had a game plan to get together with
work
Chris,
out.
didn't work out, blah, 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 blah. And when she was in the audience, in the studio for Late and Live, people were blowing smoke up her ass, like so heavy. They were like, oh, Ella, you know, you were right about Chris. Oh, this, oh, yeah, Chris. Oh, yeah, you definitely were. Oh, your friendship with Danny was great. It's like, oh, come on. Come on.
Ella is very, if you're going to describe Ella, actually, she's very Late in Live audience member.
She is very Late in Live,
With her
trying too hard.
Yeah, trying too hard and trying to do sound bites no matter what her opinion is.
But it really just wound me up. That it's like it's fine if you've got your fans and your naysayers, whatever. I get that. We've got people who probably say to their friends, "If you listen to that podcast,
Louise,
flipping egg." Louise is a fan. I hope Louise is a fan, or else we're in trouble. But there must be anyway. But like the gaslighting that was happening in that studio for Ella was ridiculous.
And also, where's
insane.
this thing come from her? Where all of a sudden she's like, "Well, I've been told all these things about Chris on the outside." It's like all of a sudden that's been like a huge thing in her life. So where's this come from?
No, she was saying it a lot in the house though, wasn't she?
I know.
She kept dropping like, someone said this about Chris, but I can't say. Someone said this about Chris, but I can't say. And then as you say, she's carried it on. Yeah, she's carried it on. Now she's outside the house. And we get it. Chris didn't get the best reception when his name got read out in the audience. Fair. People have their views on Chris, whether rightly or wrongly. Who are we to say? But obviously we have to say something. Else
also, you can't go by the crowd really, because they just boo for the sake of it sometimes.
That's true.
And he didn't get voted out on a triple, so
yeah, Triple Tuesday
could be that unpopular.
But it's just, I don't know. I going away from the actual main show of Big Brother, which we will talk about at some point today. Is that I just thought that it just really annoyed me that the crowd, like the audience in that studio,
switched
were like,
up.
with all of a sudden like all cheerleaders for Ella, and it's like, come on, you spent the whole time saying how Ella is this, Ella is that, Ella is the other thing, being very, very negative about Ella's perception in the house. And then all of a sudden she's outside the house, she's sat in front of you, and everyone's like, Ella should have won. And it's like, oh, come on. Come on. I really wanted someone in that
Ella
audience.
Fans there.
I was desperate for someone in that audience when AJ came along with that giant blankety blank microphone saying like, does anyone have anything to say? And like, I would love to have put my hand up if I was there and said like, yeah, can we just stop blowing smoke up Ella's arse, please? Because we were all here hating on her the whole time she was in the house. And now all of a sudden she's the best thing since sliced bread. Come on. Fickle. You fickle lot.
Wow.
Have some strength
Opinions
behind
change.
your convictions. What, in 10 minutes after her interview?
Yes.
When in her interview, all she talked about was Chris the whole time. I mean, Chris is living in her brain rent-free. Like, living in her head completely with no payment made.
Who did your 5 votes go to?
I voted for Chris 5 times. Don't get me wrong. I know people now will say in the comments, they'll be like, oh yeah, you were just saying that because you're a Chris lover. And yeah, I do like Chris. I love Jojo more. Jojo for me is the winner. Danny, a very close second. I love Danny, but I think Danny was guaranteed a win from the moment he walked into that house.
But he's not your winner anymore.
No, well, if him or Jojo or Donna won, I'll be happy with the outcome. There you go.
I want Donna to win.
I know you do. You love Donna, don't you?
That's my pick. But I think Danny will win.
What? Well, there you go. So that's what I just said. But you cut me dry when I said it. Why do you think Donna's going to win? Why would you like Donna to win? Before we start talking about actually
because she's been funny. Although I do feel I haven't learnt enough about her as a person, actually. But I could say that about all of these lot. Like, because I think maybe because they're celebrities, they're not really doing it. But I don't feel I know anything about any of their lives. Whereas on the civilian one, you get to know a bit about their family life and what they've done.
Well, again, it's a longer form. It's not 3 weeks.
So I feel like I don't particularly know any of
days.
them. But yeah, Donna, she's just been good. She's been unproblematic. She's been funny.
Well, she was
quite unknown when she came in. Well, to me, she was. So yeah, she's my winner.
She has had the least number of nominations as well, followed by Chesney and Jojo. So she's only had 2. Chesney's had 3. And no, Jojo hasn't been up for eviction, so she hasn't had enough to be up for eviction. So they're the only 3 who haven't experienced what the crowd possibly might be thinking about them. So yeah, I mean that if you were in the house, would you want to be put up for nomination just so you can get a feel of what people are thinking? I kind of would. I know you say like you shouldn't.
But I would hate every minute of eviction night. I would just not be coping.
Yeah, but I wouldn't cope even if I wasn't up, because I'd just be the whole time. If I suddenly heard random like rogue boos, I'd be thinking, "Oh, there's a camera on me now." But I'd rather know. I'm a person who, if you don't like me, I'd rather you told me.
If you've had like a big argument in the house or something, I think it's quite good for you to get up for eviction and then hear
how
a cheer or something, because that would like affirm that actually I was right in whatever my argument was.
A bit like in the civilian series, I always forget her name, the one who won.
Well, the recent one, Ali.
Ali, sorry. Ali. By the way, you'll learn that I'm awful with names. Ben's still got their names in front of me because I still can't remember who Danny is.
Even though they're celebrities that you know.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, when Ali had like arguments throughout the house, like in the house, they all thought that Ali was in the wrong. And when Ali was, but then when there was a eviction, and when Ali was part of the group that was up, she got the loudest cheers, and they suddenly went, "Oh, hello!" And that's when they all started trying to be nice toward Ali. So
not anymore though. They're still on TikTok, by the way. A year later, doing their TikTok live.
Well, they're very sad people because Ali literally doesn't give a shit about them. Like none of them do. It's just them three that give the biggest shit. It's like, guys, get a life, like guys, genuinely, or just go on GB News because you clearly want some kind of mouthpiece to be your fucking career. So sort yourself out.
I know.
Right, so in the house on the day 15, not much happened. Angelica was a bit passive-aggressive toward Downer after her nomination.
Oh, yeah, she woke up with banging pots and pans. And actually, I was like, why did Angelica thought it was really funny, but it's like, that would really piss me off.
I think she was being spiteful.
Yeah.
She was just
There's something about Angelica that I don't trust and I don't like. There's just something not real about her. I don't know what it is. But like the way that she was doing the pot and pans and she was like pretending like, oh, it was a bit of a fun joke, but it was like really deeply serious that she was doing it. And it's like, no. Something about Angelica I'm not too sure of. Something about Patsy I'm not too sure of. And there's something about Ella which I'm not too sure of.
So the three that got evicted.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
And I'm not a woman hater, by the way, before people start calling me a woman hater. But there's just something about mainly Angelica and Patsy. There's something that I can't work out what it is, but there's something not
but the irony
quite right there
with you saying that there's something not quite right about Angelica and Patsy is that in the house, Angelica anyway said that Patsy's not her kind of person, not her cup of tea. So is it because she sees Patsy as being a bit too similar to her? So they are both
maybe
very similar vibes. Yeah, frosty. And so, they kind of... But Patsy was different. Patsy's like, oh no, I thought we had a lovely time. Everything was all sweetness and light. But Angelica's...
I think you're right, actually, because they're both not being themselves. What I think is that they're both not being themselves. Patsy is pretending to be this harmonious, meditating crystal woman, and I don't think she actually is. And that's just all put on. And Angelica is Miss Frosty Knickers as well, but she's not pretending to be harmonious and calm. She's pretending to be bubbly, funny, and she's not either.
Is Patsy a bit too LA and Angelica a bit too London, would you say?
A bit too New York. I don't know. I just don't believe the persona they're putting on. But both of them, but in such different ways. But I don't believe either of them.
Yeah, Angelica's is overly friendly, overly like, oh my God, I can't believe it. This has been the greatest experience of my life. And in the crowd, when she left, she was like literally like jumping into the crowd and then being surfed over by the people, while Patsy just kind of sat there like that.
And all the time, like during the interview, like she bursts into tears a lot, Angelica. And I think that's another thing of there's something that she's not being real about, which is why she does all this bubbly stuff. But then you say like, and you've been in television for 25 years and she bursts into tears all of a sudden. And it's like, there's something going on there, which she's not being real about herself. And that's why she keeps bursting into tears all the time.
Well, I mean, it could be that she's... I don't know. What's she doing now? Like after Big Brother? What's her... she going back on the checkouts at Iceland to fulfill her career? I don't know. What's Angelica's...
don't know what she does anyway.
Now? Because she talks about she'd been on the One Show. We learnt a bit about the Martin Lewis incident, which we didn't know a thing about, but apparently we now found out.
I just knew she was sacked.
Yeah, she did get sacked from it because it's something about conflicting interests because she did a show on Channel 5, which does seem like a very strenuous thing to kind of say, oh well, then you can't have the job anymore. To defend Angelica on that one anyway.
It's the Martin Lewis show on ITV, is it? Also, maybe that's why this was a big deal for her, because ITV
gave her another job,
booked her for Big Bro. I don't know, there's just something about her that when, like, during her eviction and her interview, she just gives me the ick. That's the only way I could describe it. I don't know why. Just think
I don't know, there's something feel
insincere, yeah, and just performative. I don't know, very odd.
What about
not my cup of tea?
Not your cup of tea. Not
quote unquote. She's Ella not, to Jojo.
Well, to quote Angelica, she ain't the your kind of people. Yeah.
Donna's my kind of people, so maybe that's why I don't trust Angelica, because Angelica also doesn't like Donna. So
yeah, I mean, they said in the house that there's Jojo and Chris kind of just kept themselves to themselves, and that was them, and then the rest of them kind of muddled through. So there was never really any kind of friendships. Do you know what I mean? Other than Jojo and Chris, normally, and it might.
Everyone's very guarded. I think that's why I like Donna and Danny. Like they're not as guarded in there. Whereas Chesney's just...
Oh, I disagree there. I think Danny's very guarded.
Do you think?
I think Danny knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly when the camera's on him. He knows exactly.
But at least
how
like
to
he's being
perform.
slightly like
He's performing.
real conversations. Whereas Angelica's is like, I don't believe the things that she's saying. Same as Chesney. Chesney's very, I'm Chesney Hawkes, one and only.
Oh no, Chesney.
And like that's all
100%.
there is.
I think the two that are the most who literally almost don't care and just being themselves in the house is Donna and Jack. I think Jack is completely himself in there, and I think if it had been a longer series, I genuinely think that public opinion would have turned around, and Jack would be right up there in the could win.
He'll be in
pile.
the final three anyway.
Yeah, but Jack's humor is funny. Like it can be a bit cutting, it can be a bit dark. It's funny.
It was interesting as well when they were talking about Bill Roach. Is there something going on there where people don't like Bill Roach on Corey's set?
I'd imagine. Okay, right. Not to. Again, I don't know this. And anyone who's fans of Coronation Street, please get in touch. I know there is the Talk on the Street podcast.
Yes.
Please let us know. Comment underneath or get in touch with us on TikTok. On DM.
You'll be anonymous if you want.
We won't say your name, although we just said it then. We'll say it was someone else. We'll say it was Ben's alter ego. What's her name?
Louise.
We'll say it was Louise. I think because Bill Roach has been in the show since literally its conception, he feels like he's got like some kind of, you know what I mean? When someone thinks that they're
Wendy
privileged.
Richards.
They're privileged. Wendy Richard. They're privileged. They think that
they are Coronation Street.
Yeah. So without them, that's the show ended. And so they could go into a room, fart and leave, and everyone would not be allowed to say anything. You know what I mean? It's like he will never, in his mind, he can never, no one will ever be as good as him.
Although a lot of the Corey lot, I did say this ages ago about
you did.
the soap awards, they're known to be a bit snobby and think they're amazing. But yeah, that was interesting where he doesn't even know his name.
He calls him by his character's
calls
name.
him David. And like the way that Jack was talking about him, it wasn't like, because it started off where Patsy was talking about June Brown and it was fairly respectful towards June Brown.
Everyone loved June Brown.
But like the way that Jack was like, oh, he might be dead, but they wouldn't bother telling me. It's not that big of a deal. And I was like, oh, there's something. I wonder how popular Bill is on the set. But it's the same as the other guy who runs the cafe.
Oh, Roy, the guy who
Apparently
plays
he's
Roy.
a bit what's the word? Prickly. My favourite word. He's a bit odd in.
Oh, really? The actor who plays him?
There was a thing when he turned up to the studio and the security guard like asked him for his ID and he was like, I'm whatever. What's his name? Roy. I'm blah blah blah.
Roy's Rolls.
Don't you know who I am?
I'm Roy's Rolls.
It was literally, don't you know who I am? And he was getting really uppity at the person asking for ID. It's like,
I mean,
Corey.
there's a small degree of me that would be like if you work at the gates of a TV studio where they filmed the same show for about 15 years, you'd think, well, why are you asking me that?
Might be his first day.
But I was about to say, but at the same time, I could get it. It's your job. It's your role. I like the background information when you hear about in EastEnders when Barbara Windsor and Wendy Richard are like
the Queen.
Yeah.
Showing the Queen around
because
the
Barbara
set.
Windsor was invited to show the Queen around, and Wendy Richard did not like that.
So yeah, that was interesting. I wanted to hear more of the beginning of that where they were talking about June Brown, but they cut it off and then Jack took it. I was like, oh. But that was quite interesting.
But I would like to learn more, as you said. I would like to learn more about William Roach.
Yeah, obviously there's not much respect there, which is interesting.
No. This is it. William Roach expects. He's like you. Because I've done this for so long. I expect people to respect me. And when someone expects that, you feel a bit like your back goes.
You better earn it then, but you haven't.
For me, you might think you've earned it, but respect is mutual, so you respect me back, and I think that's maybe what it means. So because he calls him by his character's name, it's like almost a dig. And so to Jack, he's like, well, I don't respect him because clearly he's not respected me enough to even learn what my name is, and I've worked there for 15 years.
25 years.
There you go. And if you don't know someone's name after 25 years, but then to be fair, Jack, it's his own fault. Again, we don't know what happened. We don't know behind the scenes, but it's his own fault because if he called him David the first time, it's a bit like the trigger, is it, in Only Fools and Horses? He's like, all right, Dave. If he's called him,
know what you're talking about.
It's a joke from Only Fools and Horses because he never knew his real
Your
name.
second Only Fools and Horses.
I'm making a lot of references today on Only Fools and Horses. I swear I haven't watched any. Oh, well, I think I know where it's popped into my head now. That newspaper article, that guy who lost weight because he spoke to Jason. Anyway, you correct someone. So if someone came up to me and called me, someone at work, sometimes people call me by my wrong name. And I was like, oh no, it's Alex. That's it. That's what you need to do. So Jack should have said that. Jack said, "Oh, it's not David." That's what I mean. You don't know that information. Like we're digging deep into.
Did June Brown call Patsy Palmer Patsy or Julie?
Probably Julie, I would have thought, because she said her friends call her Julie, so you can call me Patsy.
Right, so we've got two more. So Angelica was the first to go.
She was the first to go. Ella left as well, but we kind of talked about her. She went on about Chris and JoJo, and she said she was trying to protect
She's lining
JoJo.
up her podcast that she's going to be appearing as a guest on, where she's going to be talking about Chris the whole time.
The Chris podcast.
We know that's what's now her trajectory of her career. So
there you go. If she wants a name for a podcast, call it Chris Rent Free. That's what Ella should call it, because that's where he is in her head.
Or Hello Ella. Hello Ella. No, what could her podcast be?
When they did the cut of everyone who voted for Ella, I don't know why, but they really missed the trick by not playing Umbrella by Rihanna, because it was
syncing it.
Yeah, it literally would have worked perfectly, because it literally was Ella. It was just like it would have worked perfectly. ITV, you missed a trick there. Come on.
And then Will, first time this series, he got to announce an eviction.
Why do we talk as if like he's like an underachieving child at school? Will got to announce an eviction this series. And then he fluffed it up.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They used to alternate it, and then AJ got her catchprise into the mind of the nation.
AJ,
so now she does all of them. But because it was a triple, they were like, well, Will, you can do one, the middle one.
But don't fluff it up, Will.
But they don't know it's a triple, so just say there's another.
This is the second eviction in the house. That's all you need to say, Will. The second eviction in the house.
But he didn't.
Cut live to Will. Good Big Brother house, do not swear. This is the second of 3 evictions. And the whole house was like,
two more to go or something.
2 more to go. And you could just hear the screaming down the producer's ear. It's like, Will, you twat. You're not meant to say that. Because then there was this really awkward long pause.
And all the housemates were like, what? 2 more? Oh, there's 2 more.
Triple eviction? Oh, yeah. we weren't meant to know that,
apparently
were we?
someone... I didn't see this, but apparently he left his microphone on the chair after the interview. So he forgot his microphone when he went back up onto stage. So he didn't have his microphone. Maybe he didn't have his cards. He had the wrong card. Because I think he read the card that he was meant to be saying to us, saying there's 2 more. And he read that card to them.
The house. Right.
Rookie mistake, Will. But, he got one chance.
But Will knew this was a surprise eviction. Can he not think on his feet?
Well, he was nervous because he'd forgot his microphone. So he's probably all flustered, wasn't he?
But then I would have just been like, AJ, can you just take over, please? There's no shame. But it was from that moment you could see that Will completely unravelled for the rest of the episode and for late in life afterwards.
Because then the third eviction was Patsy, where we all know no one wants to do that interview. Like, I prefer to do the Mickey Rourke interview, but then Patsy's, quite frankly, on live TV. And she didn't disappoint. No one knew it was going to happen.
Yep.
Will was trying to get his question in the whole time of all 3 interviews, and AJ kept doing her questions instead.
Yeah.
But there was one that he got through, which was can we talk about the broccoli?
Broccoli gate.
The broccoli incident, Patsy. What did you think about that?
That was
She just stared into his eyes.
Yeah, and there was like
didn't talk. She didn't say literally nothing.
Nothing at all.
And she just let it be on live air, dead air. And that's the worst thing ever. And none of them knew what to do.
But they prompted her a couple of times. They said, but how did you feel about some of the house? They didn't use Mickey's name specifically, but you knew because it was about Mickey, she didn't want to talk about it. But yeah, how did you feel like some of the people in the house criticised your cooking? And there was just silence. She's like, don't want to talk about it.
She's so odd. Like that stuff like that is so weird. And it's like, you're not new to showbiz. Like, why does she do it? I don't understand.
The William Roach effect.
It's literally like the thing you do not do is not reply to give dead air. No, you go into bloody emergency broadcasts because there's no talking.
You could make a joke. You could just kind of say like, "Well, I thought my cooking was all right."
I mean.
The end.
She's
done.
so
they
like,
would have moved on, and then would have been there.
She's so serious for like no reason. It's like we'll either make a joke or laugh or move your head. Like, she didn't even move her head. She just still.
It was the Patsy stare. The Patsy just
it's like God. So,
but they tried 3 times to cut through to break that nut. Didn't work. Not once did it work.
And even on Late in Life, she's a bit. She doesn't. Everyone was like clapping, like applauding. Like Danny said really nice things about all 3 of them. Angelica and Ella clapped for each other or whatever, and Patsy stood there. Didn't clap. It's like, why are you not doing that? It's just weird.
I mean, you can't be angry at someone
And the
if
second,
that's how they are.
Yeah, but it's just, I don't understand. And like the first question as well, she was like, well, I don't know how it's been edited. I don't know if you've seen that. And AJ was like, yes, we have seen it. She was like, well, I was the last one to nominate. I don't know how much of that you've seen. Well, we saw all the nominations.
I forgot about that. Yeah, she was angry. She actually said, I was upset because I was the last one to nominate. But she didn't elaborate. Well, she didn't. Fair. Yeah, she didn't elaborate any further to that. And then they were like, and then they were like, oh, okay. Well, it was not a good time, the face-to-face nominations. That's when Will kind of sat up and said like, oh, I wouldn't like to do that. And then AJ cut through and then started. And then she was kind of like, yeah, no, I don't think you showed it all. And it was like, well, you don't know that. And they did. They showed all the nominations.
I don't know when she was in EastEnders in the 90s. Was she like done dirty by the Paps or something, or did something happen when she was?
Know.
I can't remember what she was like, but maybe she just doesn't trust. But if that's the case, don't
go on a reality
Big
show.
Brother. But it's just all a bit odd,
to be fair
the way
to Patsy,
that she acts.
I will defend her a little bit in the sense that she did do the interview. It was just that one moment when she was asked, but it's just such a silly thing to get upset about broccoli that she really. But
even when she answers, they're quite short and nothing to them.
But I think that was down to Mickey. I think it was because they were trying to allude to her thoughts about Mickey, and I don't think she wanted to talk about him. I think that man was scrapped from her mind the moment he left from the house.
How do you explain 99% of her other interactions, though? Because all of them are a little bit like this. They're all a bit like, I don't know how to explain it. Like she looks. It's either that she thinks she's really high on a pedestal and looks down on everyone, but I don't know if that is.
I don't think it is that. I don't think she thinks she's any more special than anyone else.
Or she's just extremely untrustworthy of any question being asked to her for some reason.
Or it's that
she doesn't trust any. She doesn't trust that they're trying to make a fool of her. Or that, so she's just very guarded. She just knows that she's, like you said, she's been caught out before, and perhaps she's just very aware of what they're asking. But I don't see how she felt like she was getting caught out by asking about how she cooks her broccoli. I know. And it's like, you can't really, because a few people are like, oh yeah, I love Patsy, she's a laugh. It's like the last thing I'll describe her as a laugh, because like,
well, no, in the house apparently she had a really good dry sense of humor. They said she was a really good someone to have fun with.
It's weird. I'm on Angelica's side on that occasion.
Well, not
I trust Angelica that way.
But then you were slagging Angelica off.
But I finished that now, and now I'm on the pound of Patsy, and I agree with her. Angelica saw it. She saw the oddness. There's something odd. I mean, to be fair, actually, all of these celebrities, I think to just be a celebrity, you just have to be a bit odd. Because they're all a bit odd in
you've got to have an
different
ego.
weird ways, aren't they?
You know, if you're able to kind of stand up in front of an audience of 1 million people and talk out loud, then you must have an ego of some sort. You must be like this new level of confidence.
The only ones that aren't odd are Donna and Jack. Everyone else, I would say, there's something a bit odd about. Yeah,
but if you notice, the two that aren't odd are the actors. So they're the people who work.
Patsy. She's working overtime.
No, she does comments. She's a.
Don't call me a DJ. She got upset when someone said that to her once as well, didn't she?
God's sake!
Even though she
what can I call her then?
Julie.
Okay.
No,
because I'm not a friend. I'll just call her Pat. All right, Pat. Patsy. No, because Donna and Jack are used to working either in a studio environment when there's a small number of people or a small theatre, I guess. So they're kind of they don't have that ego attached to themselves. While everyone each.
What Mickey? He's an actor.
Mickey. I don't mean we don't really need to talk about Mickey.
No.
But even like Michael, he used to work in the House of Parliament. He used to work in Parliament, and there's hundreds of people sat there all shouting and jeering at each other.
The biggest oddball.
But that's no better than you might think because you're an MP, you're like better than Big Brother. But really, what's the difference? It's sitting inside of a Parliament where you're shouting and jeering at each other, or standing outside in the studio when people are shouting and jeering at each other. It's the same thing, and there's voting at the end of it.
That's true.
It's the same.
Parliament is just like Big Brother.
Parliament is exactly like. They should have a BBC Big Brother channel.
So the three I assumed were going did go.
Oh, and also yes.
Danny got the biggest cheer, I think.
He did. He'll win.
He won't win.
He will win. He'll win.
And Chris, for some reason, got boos, but I'm not quite sure how accurate those boos were. I don't know if it was just a group of people in the crowd. Bit of elephant.
Well, no, if you shouting, "Get Chris out."
Yeah, that could only be like 3 people.
Get Chris out.
They probably said, "Will, can I just borrow your microphone?" He's like, "Oh yeah." That's probably why they could hear it. get Chris out.
Yeah,
Will, you're not meant
turn
to
off
give
Will's microphone.
You're not meant to give the audience the microphone. So there you go. Triple eviction. The house is now very empty.
No,
and we'll
to
see
talk about.
how it's going to go.
Yeah,
We might have lots to talk about.
I mean,
There was an exclusive clip for tomorrow where Danny congratulates Chris for standing up to Mickey, and Danny says we need more straight men like you. So I feel like Danny's copied.
I've not seen that clip. When did you see that clip?
Dunno, somewhere.
The only clip I saw of Danny was when he was talking about his dead parrot that's in the freezer.
Yes. For 8 years.
Yeah.
So
Don't talk shite.
we've come to the end.
Yes, we have.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so get in touch with us. You can DM us.
I think we need
get in
lots of
touch-
comments now because there's only 6 people left,
this
so we
is
have
the
to
point.
talk about
You need-
the listeners instead of the housemates now.
Get in touch with us. Let us know your thoughts. Tell me I'm wrong about everything because that's what I like. Or tell him I'm right. I like that too. Go to tell Ben he's wrong and tell me I'm right. Go to Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. You can DM us at Faithful2Podcast, and don't forget to follow us and like us on there. Blue Sky at Faithful2Podcast.bsky.social. On YouTube, go to at Faithful2Podcast or search Faithful2 Big Brother Podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell, and comment underneath the videos as well. Give us a thumbs up, all that good stuff. If you want to watch, listen, and comment on the podcast, you can go to Spotify as well and do the same thing. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts or any of your favourite podcast apps. And don't forget to give us 5 stars if you enjoy listening to the podcast. Tell your friends, share us on social media. And if you want to help us monetarily, buy things for the background, but also help with the podcast, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/faithful, where for £5 you can help with the show. And if you attach a comment to that donation, you will also guarantee to have your comment read out on the show too.
Lovely, right. So we will see you all again tomorrow,
Yeah.
as long as we're still alive.
As long as Patsy doesn't get
Look
a
at
taxi, an Uber up to us. And
She's a bit like Medusa, isn't she, Patsy? She turned you to stone with just one look.
she's like, what's the characters from Doctor Who? Blink.
Don't blink around Patsy. Right, we will see you all tomorrow.